So, artificial intelligence is in all the news. It's what is causing the stock market to go up. I hope not to a bubble, but they say it might. So, I'm wondering about, I've been a practicing Buddhism for a Buddhist for 45 years or more. And I was wondering how Buddhist principles interacted with and informed our relationship to artificial intelligence. So, of course, I asked ChatGPT. And within not even a second, this is the answer. I'll read it to you. Buddhist teachings offer a useful lens for thinking about artificial intelligence, especially through ideas such as impermanence, non-self, and intention. In Buddhism, phenomena are understood as arising from causes and conditions rather than possessing an independent, fixed essence. AI systems similarly have no inherent self or consciousness. They are contingent processes shaped by data, design choices, and human goals. Recognizing this parallel can help demystify AI and reduce tendency to anthropomorphize it, encouraging a more grounded understanding of what AI is and is not. From this perspective, AI is neither inherently good or bad. Its effects depend on the conditions under which it is created and used. Buddhism also emphasizes ethical action, rooted in compassion and right intention. Right intention and right action suggest that designers and users should be attentive to the suffering or well-being their technologies may cause, whether through bias, displacement, or misuse. Mindfulness encourages ongoing awareness of consequences rather than blind attachment to efficiency or profit. In this way, Buddhist ethics do not reject technology, but call for a careful, compassionate approach, one that treats AI as a powerful tool whose moral significance lies in how thoughtfully and responsibly humans choose to employ it. Thus speaks ChatGPT. I taught Buddhism at the grad school level, and I could tell you that this is a good answer. It's right on the money. So I guess we can all leave. Maybe not. Okay. Remember when the internet first became available to like all of us, and there were all these predictions about how the globe would then become interrelated and people all over the globe would like understand each other, and this fact would allow for peace, love, and understanding because of the internet. It didn't turn out that way. The sociobiologist Edward O. Wilson wrote, "The real problem of humanity is the following. We have Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, and godlike technology, and it is terrifically dangerous and is now approaching a point of crisis overall." One of the ways that the Buddha describes suffering is when the mind is unconsciously inhabited by what he called the three poisons. The three poisons are, first of all, greed, or clinging or grasping, or aversion or hatred, and third, delusion or ignorance. Waking up, according to the Buddha's teaching, is cultivating opposite qualities by our choices: mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom instead. And no matter what technology we create, they're not immune from the three poisons. And maybe social media has acted as an accelerant for those poisons in our collective consciousness. Have any of you watched the new Netflix movie Frankenstein? It's worth watching. It's based, of course, on Mary Shelley's famous early 19th century classics about Dr. Frankenstein and his monster. Dr. Frankenstein is all excited about his scientific knowledge, about how he can create life, not even thinking about the consequences, not thinking about any kind of accountability for what happens. Our technology can be a Frankenstein's monster if we're not careful. I worry that a lot of our brilliant tech scientists are so enamored of what cool things they can do that they don't even think about the potential consequences of their creations. And also, a lot of what is part of the new tech is that it's grounded in greed and competition, cutthroat competition. So that leads to the potential for a problem, for a lot of problems. On the other side, artificial intelligence is already here. You're using it every day, even if you don't realize it. And a lot of Buddhist teachers are actually embracing artificial intelligence. There are even some artificial intelligence engineers who are also Buddhist teachers who take seriously the ways in which artificial intelligence can be a tool for awakening, for good, for enlightenment. There's even one chat box that has been ordained as a Zen priest. It's really just starting. Okay. My main meditation teacher is a guy named Shinzen Young. Does any of you know about him? No? Look him up. He's an interesting guy. Shinzen Young is he's been my main meditation teacher. He's a Vipassana teacher, insight meditation teacher. And from the beginning, he has tried to make meditation more accessible, more effective in terms of letting go of the causes of suffering. And he has, ever since I've known him in the 90s, has used what he calls an algorithmic approach to teaching meditation. So it's if this is what's happening, do that. So here's how it worked for me, and I've benefited immensely from doing retreats with him under the guidance of this approach. So I'd be sitting in meditation, and remember, this is low tech now, back then. The phone would ring, I'd pick it up. Hi, it's Shinzen. Tell me about your meditation. Okay. Yeah. Try this. I'll get back to you. And then I would apply his teaching and instruction to my meditation experience. And yes, it would be much more effective. And then he would call back. Again, get feedback from me. So that was his approach. And the approach was so much more effective for my practice than the usual retreats that happen for Vipassana meditation, where you have 10 days, but you might have a meeting with a teacher in a group every other day. So actually now, Shinzen has given up teaching, and he has a new project to play with. He always thought that one of the biggest hopes for the world is if there were enough scientists who knew about meditation. who could then use science to approach meditation, to teach it to more people, to make it more accessible, to make it easier, to make it more effective. So now he's got a project at the University of Arizona that he's doing a lab. He's got his own little lab to play with a cognitive scientist, which he hopes will accelerate the process of enlightenment for more and more people. So a subject would then have a helmet of sorts, which is just really a bunch of electrodes. And the subject would be subjected to ultrasound waves that would be sent to specific areas of the brain, which would create equanimity, which would lower anxiety. And some subjects who are experienced meditators have reported that it would equal 5 days of meditation at a retreat. And they would pick up from there, saving a lot of time. In other words, it would create enough experiences of well-being that would require hours, days, or months of meditation to achieve. Shinzen calls this democratizing enlightenment. It's intriguing. And there's some people in Silicon Valley, I don't want to get hold of this technology. A core teaching of Buddhism is that our consciousness, and indeed everything else, referring back to the reading by Dr. King, is constantly changing causes and conditions. Everything is changing. There's no essence, there's nothing permanent. It's if this happens, that, if that happens, this. All these causes and conditions coming in to create reality. The Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh calls interbeing. Everything is interbeing. So let me illustrate. Piece of paper, right? This piece of paper could not exist if it hadn't been a tree. The tree couldn't exist. The piece of paper couldn't exist if there hadn't been a logger to cut down the tree. The paper couldn't exist if the logger had not had a specific great-grandmother. The paper couldn't exist if there hadn't been soil and rain and sun. In other words, if you think about it, the whole cosmos is in this piece of paper. The great cosmologist Carl Sagan said, if you want to make a cherry pie from scratch, you would first have to invent the universe. But here's the good news. We're not helpless in this. We're participants in this. We humans get to make choices. Now, it requires a good deal of consciousness and understanding of reality to make good choices, but we do have choices. We can make conscious choices and even unconscious choices about how we affect these causes and conditions. So the choices, conscious or not conscious, affect the quality of our minds and emotions, and hence our actions, which lead to the quality of our relationships, which affects the qualities of our communities, our neighborhoods, our political reality. Really, the choices that we make, conscious or unconscious, affects the whole cosmos. So it matters how conscious and well-motivated our choices are. And a deeply grounded faith, spirituality, in deeply grounded faith communities is what we need to help us make those choices more consciously out of greater wisdom and compassion. That's why we're here. Buddhist teacher Deborah McLaughlin is part of a project. She's with a group of people who are creating a chatbot called Skywalker. So they've loaded a bunch of teachings for their teacher, plus all the Buddhist scriptures they can find, different teachings and so on. And it's constantly evolving and learning. And I was trying to find this Skywalker chatbot, but it's not ready yet, I guess. I mean, they're still working on it, but I understand that once you can query this chatbot, it will answer you in Yoda's voice. She has some suggestions about what we can do right now to move artificial intelligence in a positive direction. The Buddha talked about right speech. Well, right speech, of course, is speech that's true. It's not a lie, it's not false, but it's also kind, and it's also helpful, and it's also timely. So she suggests that when we're interacting with a chat box or bot or any kind of artificial intelligence, that we should apply right speech, even though it's a machine, because everything we do goes into that huge mass of data, which helps that machine to learn. And what do we want it to learn? We can affect that. So using that right speech, you can ask your chatbot of choice to check its sources, because don't trust everything they say. Okay? You can ask that its responses to you be gentle, honest, and that it offer feedback, but offer it constructively. And then, don't forget to say thank you, and ask it to carry the spirit of that conversation in the conversations with other humans. So McLaughlin, in an article in the Buddhist publication Lion's Roar, wrote, "Let our questions and prompts be offerings. Let our online presence be practice. Let our prompts and responses be mindful speech." It may seem small, but karma, reality, I would say, is made up of small moments. Everything counts. Yeah? Everything counts. And not just our use of artificial intelligence.